Hey everyone, welcome back to Antlab Games. We are on part 4 of the Doomrock Doompocalypse video series here, where we've got the second encounter against the spooky specters. So I've got the battlefield set up. I haven't drawn the terrain, so we'll go ahead and do that now, but I want to go over real quick the some of the rules for fighting the spooky specters before we get into this. Okay, so there are going to be 5 minions. But there's only going to be one activation in this battle, not 2. Which means that it's going to be one activation, one minion activation per hero. So instead of 2 per hero, it's only 1, so it's 1 less. And you'll see why in just a moment. Also, the specters have 4 hit points and 2 armor each. So here's where it gets ugly. So they have this ability hidden, so as long as the specter is adjacent to terrain, he may not be damaged, moved, or pushed, and no exposed markers on him may be consumed with effects initiated by the hero. So basically, if they're next to terrain, I can't do anything to them, really. If a terrain is moved, each adjacent specter moves with it. So if I were to move my donkey, for example, they'd go with it. Rough exorcism. So whenever a hero loses hit points from a damaging effect initiated by another hero, including that hero, self-inflicted, each specter adjacent to the damaged hero loses the same amount of HP and becomes pushed. So it's one way to damage these things is to hurt yourself. And I don't think that damage has armor applied, so that's just straight up damage. So let's go and see how the board looks. Alright, so we have our 5 specters, our 2 heroes, our mule, 2 points of cover at this stage, but I do need to draw 2 major terrain components, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so I've got the major terrain component deck. I'm just going to shuffle it up, I'm not looking. And then we will grab 2, we'll cut it, grab 2. 1, 2. So A and B, that's how we're going to do it. So we've got the tree and the Gatling gun. So we've seen the Gatling gun last time. But again, it's random, so this is what we're going to get. And I didn't really use the Gatling gun. So we have 2 negative modifiers, a -2 and a -3. So if you recall, based on the rules, if it's a 0 or less, we draw a negative minor terrain card. So I will grab the minor terrain cards. We'll look through the negatives, which we had last time. And we will come up with... boom, a trap. So we will look at what these do and move from there. So let's get those set up. Okay, so according to the rules, we have A, which is here, our tree, B, our Gatling gun, which goes up here, and then our minor terrain, based on the rules, is going to go on, I believe, the side with our heroes. So we can put the trap somewhere down here, it really doesn't matter. What are these traps going to do? Let's take a look. Okay, so we have, only the tree has a minion activation ability, which is each adjacent hero gains 1 exposed, but there are activations that I can do. So another character gains 1 exposed, or this action may not be rushed, a reckless leap. So a rushed action would be taking a maneuver, running to the tree and then activating it. But if you are starting your turn at the tree and then use a maneuver, I can do this reckless leap where I perform a move. And if your move action will be melee attack, before attacking, each target gains 2 expose. Alright, so that's pretty nice. I guess it's like jumping out of the tree and attacking them. So with the trap, we can remove this particular trap from the game. We can disarm it. Oh, that's pretty cool. But if you throw somebody into it, this hazard only affects heroes. Oh no. So that is not good. But I can, if I so choose, move to it and then disarm it so that I don't get pushed into it. So, which we may want to do. Okay, so we start out with our roll phase for the commander. We've got 6 dice here. There's a couple of moves that, being the first round, I'm not going to use. So let's see what I want to keep. So I'm not going to use Shatter, I'm not going to use Paralyze, because Shatter, for one, requires me to be able to hurt something next to landscape or terrain, and this monster can't be hurt. So this is probably the worst one to draw with this skill. Paralyze only works, it's great to use as an initiative move, so I can lock somebody down, but it requires them to be exposed. So, and none of the enemy is exposed right now, so I'm going to have to do as much as I can to get them exposed. So I'll keep you, keep all those. Do I want to keep these? I'm going to keep you, and I'll reroll these two. See what we can get here. 3, maybe another maneuver. One more roll, a 6, and that's good. So I'll do a whiplash, a maneuver, rush in, another whiplash, and a command. So that's where she's going to be. And our bard, let's roll her up, see what we're going to do. So she's the one I want to roll 6s for. What am I looking for here? 2 and a 4. Alright, so I rolled a 2 and a 4, so I may re-roll a single die up to 3 times. So that's been activated. We just need to decide what we want to keep here. So I want to keep the 4, but I want to re-roll all 3 of these because I don't need any of those 5s. So we've got 2 6s, good, a 1, and I'd like to get another 6 if possible. So I can roll this 3 times. Well, actually, that's a maneuver. Do I want to keep that? Maybe I do. Maybe this is the one I'll roll 3 times. So that was my 3 main rolls. And then I go 1, 2, keep that. Headbang, maneuver, headbang, fan of knives. So that is how we're going to set her up. Okay, I think we're now ready to begin the initiative phase. But one thing to note before we start is that I added another trap to the board because this particular terrain has a ×2 marker, which means it is ×2. So we've got 2 of them up there. But small detail, it's been added. I guess we can jump right in and get ready for the initiative. And what I think I'll do is I'll start off with rush in. Now, the rush in move will allow us to perform a move adjacent to an enemy, and then each adjacent enemy gains 1 expose. So I guess our commander will move adjacent to our enemy and then give said enemy 1 expose. Now remember, our commander also gets an expose because of her impatient ability, or patient trait rather. So that is that. Now let's decide what we want to do next. So I think that's it for the initiative moves. What I think we'll do now is start activating our spooky specters. Okay, so our first activation, I think, let's activate this guy with the commander. So the first move is move to an unoccupied terrain. So the lowest priority unoccupied is either one of these traps. Now move the active hero adjacent to yourself. So she's going to come down here, and she's going to gain an expose token because she moved next to an enemy, which is terrible. And now our enemy is going to deal 2 damage. So let's flip these. And we have a blank and a blank. Alright, well, get any luckier than that. But still take 2 damage, so we're going to use up her shield token. And I'm going to use her Omega Armor, and her Omega Armor will give her 1 shield. So that's 2 shield tokens, and that's going to negate that damage. So she won't take any damage. Awesome. So that's the end of her activation. Now we're going to do the Bard, and the Bard will activate. Oh, sorry. This guy. I didn't even read the card yet. So move to the companion. and if adjacent to the companion, move that companion to the active hero. So the companion would come to the hero and bring this other guy with it. So I'm just going to move the hero up to the companion. If adjacent to the companion, deals 2 damage to the active adjacent hero. So she's going to take 2 damage. She has 1 shield token, so she'll take 1 damage. So I will pull 1 hit point off of her. She's down to 5. And that's it for the enemy activation. Not bad. We still have some things to take care of, but I think now we're in a position to actually potentially hurt some of these guys now. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and I'm glad we have these traps, is because with the traps, if I activate the trap by paying a movement with my commander, I can remove this particular trap from the game. It's been disarmed. So now, if you notice, our specter is no longer near a terrain item. So all these terrain hidden defenses now go away. So I'm free to beat on this thing. So what I'm going to do is try to do as much damage as I possibly can to this creature. So I can directly hit it with my hero, which I will definitely try. But the thing is, this thing has two armor, so I'm going to need to do at least 6 damage to it in order for it to take anything, right? Or to actually take damage and kill it. So I've got to hopefully expose it if I can. So I guess what I can do is I can use my Amulet of Hatred, and it'll allow me to place 1 exposed token on a monster. That's a start. And now I can use the Fan of Knives with my Bard. And with my Bard, what I'll do is I'll use my command token and a command ability from my commander, and it'll allow another hero to gain 1 heroism. So now my Bard has 2 heroism to use with this attack. And this attack deals 2 damage, so if I use 2 heroism, it'll deal 4 damage. I'm still too shy though, so I've got to figure out what else I can do to expose this thing. I've got Headbang, which deals 2 damage and doesn't do anything more. So that's not enough. If I charge it, I can deal 1 extra damage. But again, it's not going to do more than my Fan of Knives is going to do. 2 exposed enemies. So that's a range attack. So, oh god, I just need like one more attack. So maybe I'll use my maneuver for my Bard and give her one more heroism. So that's what we'll do. Because what I'm going to use my Bow of Doom as well, which if I use it, it gives me +1 damage to one of the targets of your ranged attack. So it'll be +1 to that. So let's hit this target. It gets +1. Alright, I think we might have this. I'm going to use the Fan of Knives, which does 2 damage, right? 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. It was overkill, but had that not been a +1, I didn't know. So I had more than enough to kill it, but I used up all my tokens because I was going to go the full Monty here. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, and we wasted one of the specters. So I think that was well worth it. But now we've got, a dilemma here on the Mule, because I can do this headbang move, but I can't touch them because they're on the Mule. So what I will do though is I'm going to use maneuver from my commander, who will go to the Mule and activate the Mule. And by activating the Mule, I can move the Mule to a distant group, and then each enemy in that group gains an expose. But they'll go with it. So I don't know if I want to do that. No, so I'm just going to move and stay put. I'm not going to activate the Mule. I don't want to slap him. But my last move will be let's see, I could deal 1 damage to the 2 adjacent characters nor 1 armor, but I can't do any damage. That's the problem, right? Because I can't hurt them. So, oh, but I can do this. I'm going to, oh man, 2 adjacent. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a headbang, and I'm going to do 2 damage to an adjacent character, ignoring all push effects. So I'm going to do 2 damage to my commander, and my commander's going to take 2 damage. Now if you remember, whenever a hero loses hit points from a damaging effect initiated by a hero, each specter adjacent to the damaged hero loses the same amount of HP. So, these guys are each going to lose 2 hit points. So what I'm going to do in turn is take the commander, use heroism, and do a whiplash and deal 1 damage plus 1 damage to up to 2 adjacent characters. So she's going to hit him, hit the bard for 2 damage. So they're going to just beat on each other. 2 damage. And that's going to knock, basically, do 2 more damage each to these guys. And I think that's how we beat this scenario. So we should be able, as long as they don't hurt us, we should be able to get through this by basically waiting until they get onto the, we got to get them to, I need to get them both to something. So if we can kind of work out getting them both to the companion, that would take us probably 2 rounds, but it will come up. We just have to hope we have it come up at the right time. So let's see what we can do here. So that's the end of our round. Let's go ahead and refresh. All right, so we're going to refresh everybody and roll for the roll phase. So I'm going to keep probably the 3, the 4, the 6, the 5. I'd like to keep the 1 and 2, but let's re-roll these 3. Oops. What's that 3? That's a 3, 4, and a 5. What I'm looking for is another 5, and I would like to re-roll these 2. I would like a 1. So I'll keep, do I want to keep the 6? I'll keep the 6, and I'll use my force shield, and anytime, I don't have to use it. Anytime in 1 string or roll phase, you may rotate 1 of your dice to the value of 1. So I'll give this one the value of 1. So, okay, so I will do a heroism, I will do paralyze, heroism and shield, paralyze, move, and a command. I think that's probably best. I don't think I'm going to get an attack in this round. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I think that's fine. That's fine. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I refreshed everything on the board. We're going to roll up here. Whoa. Okay, so we definitely want that shield. I want the 2 6s for the fan of knives. I'd like the maneuver. And that's a 5, and I'll take slap. Yeah, I think that's good. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get, she gets a shield token. Not bad. I'll take that. So that's the end of that. Let's move into the start of round and initiative. Okay, so for initiative, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Paralyze, which by that lightning bolt shows that it is an initiative move. Choose a non-boss exposed character. Target does not act during the next activation. So first I'll use my Amulet of Hatred, since I need an exposed character, to place 1 expose on a character. These can be used at any time. I will place an expose on that character, and then I will proceed to paralyze it. So remember, this guy's paralyzed, so only one of them is going to get to do its activation. I still draw the card, but it does not get to do the effects. So that's, I'm basically locking one of the 2 creatures down, which is fantastic. So we're still going to activate both of them, but we are only going to have to face one set of attacks, basically. So with that, let's go into our attack phase. So if we keep the strategy, we may be able to easily get through this without only taking a few more points of damage, if we can work those guys back down. So we're going to activate this guy. I don't need to mark them because there's only 2 left. So I'm going to activate this guy here, the non-exposed one, and see what happens. So move to the active hero. He's going to come here. Active hero, remember, is the highest threat, which is our commander. So deal 2 damage to the adjacent active hero. So I'm going to use 1 shield, and I'm going to exhaust my Omega armor again, which was clutch that I got this, and block both damage. And then move to an unoccupied enemy terrain with an enemy action. Unoccupied terrain with an enemy action. So that would be the tree. That's the only other one available. So he's going to move here, and then that's how he ends his turn. So she came over, attacked us, and then ran off. Which is a jump scare, heart stop, strategic haunt, and she's now is haunting the tree. So now I'm going to activate the paralyzed specter, and it's going to be this, which we know is always on the bottom of the deck, is the haunt, where it moves to an unoccupied terrain. Each hero adjacent to a hazardous terrain suffers the effect of that hazard, and then it deals 3 party damage, and then each hero gains exposed. This is a terrible move that I will have to lock down and paralyze every turn. So now I know. You just have to remember the order, right? Because it's always going to be last, and there's only 4 cards. So that goes back on the bottom, and I shuffled the top 3. And then we'll be ready for the next activation phase. But until then, we are now going to resolve our hero actions. Let's see if we can actually damage one of these things. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Bard maneuver, and I'm going to activate the Mule. And the Mule flips over, and basically we're going to spank it. We're going to spank the Mule, and it moves to the distant group. So we're going to send it over here. And the Mule is, each enemy adjacent to the Mule gains 1 expose. So this guy's going to gain expose. And now there's certain things we can do on a Mule that are somewhat beneficial. Not sure if I want to do that, but we'll leave him there. I think there's nothing I really need to do. So what I could do to finish this is I'm going to do a maneuver from our Bard, from our commander, and move her over next to that grouping. Use command and pull this person. Remember, I want to get them all next to this companion because there's an ability that's allowing us to use that companion. So let's go with that. So I'm going to end my turn here. We're not going to do anything else, and we'll go on to the next round. Alright, so remember, we've got to re-roll everything. We lose all of our heroism and shields at the end of the round, and we roll. So I've got 2 5s, which I want, 2 1s potential, 2 4s I don't want. I'll re-roll these. A 6 I'll keep. This 1 I don't necessarily think I need. I don't need that many 1s. I got a 2. So what I'll do is I will turn this 2 into a 1 with my force shield, and I'm going to get 3 shields, paralyze, and whiplash. Alright, so I've got 3 shields, paralyze, and whiplash. And let's go to our Bard. So with our Bard, we are going to have a shield maneuver, it looks like. Do I want to slap? Maybe. I don't know necessarily. Let's re-roll. 6 and a 5. We'll keep the 6. We'll roll these 2. I got a 3 and a 5. So she's not going to have Fan of Knives, but she will have some other moves. Let's see. I'll take solo. I'll take slap, 2 maneuvers, and a shield. We'll go with that. Alright, so I'm going to use paralyze again, and I'm going to lock down this guy though. So only he's going to activate. Alright, so we're going to do that as our first activation. And we have move to the active hero. And She's going to come over here and then deal 2 damage to the adjacent active hero. We have 2 shield tokens, not going to bother us. And then move to an unoccupied terrain with an enemy action. So considering these are both occupied, he's going to move to the lowest priority, which happens to be this trap. And that's actually not bad. There's some potential there. Not a ton, but some. And that's that. So the next activation is going to be him, and it is move to the companion, so he's going to skip it. So I would have hoped we had gotten that one before and gotten them both here, but not a big deal either way. I think we have some options still. So what I will do, though, is end their turn. Now it's my turn. Alright, so just thinking about it, I'm not sure I can do enough damage to that guy to hurt it. So what I'll do is I'm going to hit my friends. So deal 1. Do I have anything that's going to let me deal some major damage here? Deal 1 damage to a character target, and it gains 1 exposed before or after the attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a solo, and so I don't know if I want to do that. You know what? I'm going to do a maneuver first with my bard to gain a heroism. Then I'm going to do a charged solo with that heroism, and it's going to give 2 damage and then 2 exposed tokens. I'm going to tap my Omega armor on my, because I'm going to hit my commander, and this is going to allow me to ignore gaining up to 2 exposed markers. So she won't gain exposed markers. So she's going to take 2 damage, but not gain exposed markers. So this guy is going to take 2 damage. Just it's straight damage. It goes straight to him. So I don't even think we flip the exposed tokens, because it's like we're hurting ourselves. Now that's going to do 2 damage to my commander, which is going to take 2 hit points off of her. And now I'm going to what could I do here? I'm going to slap my commander. And that's going to do adjacent hero gains 1 expose after the attack, and you are healed for 1 hit point. So she's going to get an exposed token, and my bard is going to heal for 1 broken health. So now she has 4 health. And then I'm going to, should I smack her to break this guy down a little bit more? I don't think I need to. I think that was a good enough move, and I think I'm going to end my turn there. So let's end the round, and we'll go on to the next one. All right, let's roll it up. And we get a whole bunch of 3s. I'm going to roll this whole thing over again. I didn't like that one bit. All right, so we got a 3. Don't need all this. This is a bad roll. Okay, so we got a 5. All right, so I'll take command. I'll take, oh, that was a 5. I'll take paralyze, maneuver, heroism, and I'm going to turn one of these to a shield with my 4 shield. So 1 heroism, 1 shield, and I think she's ready to roll. All right, now for the bard. We've got a whole bunch of 5s and 3s. I'll keep the 3. It's a full house. Keep the 3. Keep the 1. Come on, give me something here. 3, the 1, the 5s, and 2 2s. Eek. I can't even use those. That stunk. Alright, well I guess I'm going to slap, maneuver, shield, and then those 2 are forfeit. That was a bad roll. 1 shield. That was a really bad roll. Alright, let's start the combat round. Start off with the paralyze. Paralyzing this guy. Activation. So move to unoccupied terrain. So the lowest priority unoccupied is actually up here at the Gatling gun. Alright, let me cruise that up a bit so you can see. Alright, move there. move adjacent hero, move active hero adjacent to yourself. So she's actually moving. Now that's stunk. And then deal 2 damage to the active hero. So I'm going to deal 1 with my shield, and then I'm going to tap my Omega Armor to block those 2 damage, but 1 goes through. So I take 1 damage, down to 1 hit point, and this guy actually heals for 1 damage. So that's a little troublesome. That's quite troublesome, actually. So remember, this guy's pinned. The last activity, I can pull it, but it's the last card, so we know that, you know, we're not going to activate that. So that ends their activation, and now it is my turn to attack. Alright, so for my attack, I think we're just going to use my Amulet of Hatred, put another exposed token on this guy. I don't have any other real moves I can do, so we're going to have to end the round. Alright, well, what looked like I had under control is now looking quite grim. So we're going to keep that, that, and that. We roll these 2. And I'm not really sure why it turned out the way it did. The 3. Alright, I'll take 2 maneuvers, shatter, command, and a shield. That's not good. Alright, what do we got? 6, 3, and these 2. 6, 5. I don't know if I want the 5. Reroll these 2. A 6 and a 4. So we got Headbang, Move, Fan of Knives, and a solo. I think that'll do. Alright. Let's go into combat round 1. Initiative. Well, start around initiative. Alright. As usual, paralyze, and we are locking him down. And we're going to activate this one. So we get move to companion. If adjacent to companion, move that companion with the active hero. If adjacent to the companion, move that companion to the active hero. So actually the companion, she's bringing the companion back here, and I had to do that because we were connected to this terrain and now we're not. Right? So she's at the companion. Now deal 2 damage to each adjacent hero. So I've got, you know, my normal 1 shield and Omega Armor to block it. She's pinned, so I don't have to do that move, and it's now my action. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to maneuver with my Bard and bring her up to the donkey. And I'm going to have my commander, well, my commander can, so I'm going to play a solo. But first my commander is going to give another hero gains a heroism. So I'm going to give a heroism to the Bard. The Bard's going to play a charged solo. And I'm going to give myself 2 exposed tokens and 2 damage. So my Bard's going to take 2 damage and 2 expose. And those 2 expose happen after combat. I can choose before or after. So that's going to be, that's 2 damage. That's not enough. That's just not enough. I need to do 3 damage. Ugh. So that's going to knock him down to 1 more. Now this is terrible. And now I have maneuver. So I'm going to maneuver my commander over to here. And leave my commander here for now. And that's all I think I can do. Because I can't. You know what? I'm going to move. Yeah, so I can maneuver. So I maneuvered here, and I'm going to disarm this trap. So this guy's alone. Now I can do the Fan of Knives. I didn't realize that. actually have quite a few options here. So I can deal 2 damage to adjacent character, ignoring all push effects. So I can deal 2 damage to him, reveal that, that's +1, so that's 1 damage goes through. With my fan of knives, I can use that, it'll deal 2 damage, +1 for my bow, that's 3 damage, so that'll knock him down 1 more. And with my Amulet of Hatred, I can put 1 more exposed token on him, and I want to keep that on him. Alright, I think that's how we're going to play this now. Alright, I'm done with that. Let's end the round. Alright, let's roll for the commander. Now we need at least 1 shield. I'd prefer 2, to be honest. So there's 1. There's the 2 5s we like. There's a 3. Keep that 5. Do I want to keep this? Probably. I'm not sure. This is tough. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna change this. Let me assign. All right, so we got paralyze. We got a shield. We've got a maneuver. I've got a whiplash. Do I want that whiplash? Do I want a command? I could roll both of these over again. And I got 2 2s. Wow, that was fantastic. Alright, so maybe I will give a 2 to rush in, and I will switch this to a 1 with my force shield, and that will give me 2 additional shields. Alright, so that's something, I guess. Maybe. Not very helpful, but whatever. Alright, so let's see how well the Bard fares. We have a 6. We have, well, that was a 4. Keep the 1. We'll re-roll these 3. We got another 6. We got a 3. That's good. And a 2. Damn it, these 2s. So we'll take the 2 6s for the Fan of Knives. We'll take 1 shield. That's a waste, and that's a move. Alright. So we've got that. Alright, that's it. Let's jump into the activation. Okay, we might as well jump in and see if we survive. So, how do we want to start? We want to start with paralyze, and we're going to paralyze this guy again. And we are going to activate him, and that's going to trigger this mule. The mule, each hero gains 1 exposed, so I'm going to put 1 exposed token on him and 1 exposed token on me, but I'm going to use my, actually I'm going to use my Omega armor, and you and each, well, I can negate an exposed token, so I'm not going to take 1 on me because I can't afford to take 1, to be honest. And I'm going to take 2 damage. No, I'm not going to take 2 damage. What am I talking about? So that's him. I haven't even done the activation yet. I just assumed I would take 2 damage. So what happens now once the mule gets hit? So flip this terrain. So now the mule is back to normal. Alright. So now this guy is going to activate, and we get moved to an unoccupied terrain, which would be the tree. Move the active hero to adjacent to yourself, and then deal 2 damage. So I'm going to negate that with my 2 shield tokens, and then he would heal if he had hurt me, and he didn't. So that's his activation. This guy activates, but he can't. He's paralyzed, so now it's my turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Amulet of Hatred, and I'm going to put an exposed token on him. And I'm going to use Maneuver with my Bard to get a Heroism token. I'm going to use the Fan of Knives, charged with 1 Heroism, and my Bow of Doom. And that's going to be 4 damage through to him. So that'll be 2 damage over 3 damage. So he's dead. And this resets the token pool. But that killed him finally. Thank God. Alright, so now I'm kind of stuck here. She could maneuver, but I don't see any reason why she needs to, so she's just going to sit there and look pretty. So that's it. That ends this round, and I think we are only going to need one more round, so let's finish this off. Okay, let's see what we can do. Final roll. Oh, that's a lot of 5s. Alright, I'll keep the 1, I'll keep the 4, I'll keep the 2 5s. Reroll these 2. 2 more 5s. Well, this is 5 city here. A 6 and a 4. We'll take command. We'll take... Oh, that was a 5. We'll take paralyze. Of course, we have to. We'll get a shield there. I don't have a maneuver. But I will take a heroism and a shield. And I have a 4. What can I do with another 4? I think I can do anything with another 4. So I'm going to turn that to a 1 and grab another shield. I think that's good. Alright, cool. Okay, so for our bard, what I'm most concerned with this round are shields. And we got them. So now these can be anything to supplement what we're doing here. A 4. Can I use a 4? Yeah, so I'll go headbang, maneuver, 2 shields, and a solo. Alright, and now we will begin our activations. Okay, so we'll open up with the paralyze, but we're only going to be able to paralyze him for 1. He's going to get 2 activations, 1 per hero. That's how it works. So, because each hero has to activate at least 1, and if it's the same monster, it's considered like rampaging. So we're going to paralyze him. We are now going to activate him, so he doesn't get to do this. But now we have to activate him again for our bard. So he's going to move to the companion, and then the companion is going to move to our bard, and he's going to do 2 damage. So he hits us for 2, maybe 3, no, but he pushes us twice. So he's going to push us once, thank God. 2 damage I can negate. Any more than that would have been ugly. So, but I get pushed, and I'm going to get pushed to the lowest terrain. So he basically swapped places with her. Not terrible, but not actually not very good at all. Okay, so that's actually, he's done. So now we get to go on to our activation. Alright, so I'm going to use my bard, and I'm going to maneuver next to this guy. I'm going to give him another expose. Well, I don't think I even need to give him expose because I can't hit him. But what I can do is I can do a command with my commander to give my bard a heroism. And then with that, I can do a headbang. Actually, no, I don't need to do that. I don't even need to charge this up, because I can do a solo that allows me to deal 1 damage to a character, such as myself. The target gains 1 expose before or after the attack. So I'll gain the expose after the attack, but I'm going to do 1 damage to myself. And I'm going to kill him. And end the game, well, not the game, but end the round with 1 health left on each character. Alright, well, a lot harder than I expected, but I kind of figured we got the strategy at some point. So I think, let me clean this up and then we'll recap. Alright, so we've cleaned it up. We have 1 more encounter to face. We've barely skated by each of these so far. Pure luck. Pure luck, and I'd say just, I don't know, I guess insanity, because that last one was a little weird. So we had to be a bit creative, I think, with the terrain. And we got lucky with those traps, because that helped us weed out, some of those ghouls. But, or the specters. Well, we have some loot to collect, so let's see what the prize is. Alright, and we get 1 silver per player. Now, I noticed that in the last adventure phase, I didn't take advantage of gain 1 silver each time a party arrives at a new town area, and we arrived in, I believe, 2 new town areas. during that phase, so I should have collected 2 silver. So I'm going to collect that now to make right, and so I'll give myself 4. We get an epic item, so we'll draw that now. Let's see what it is. And we have a boomerang axicle, and we will use attack, dealing 3 damage to a distant character. Wow, that's pretty good. Unequip this item after using. Another hero with 1 agility may equip it immediately. It is still treated as being used. So this will go from player to player, and I think we can certainly do that because we both have agility. So I will equip that on my bard for now, and that will come in handy. We get heroism +1 each, so I will give them each 1 heroism. So that'll go in. And loot +2 and a loot +1. So let us roll for loot. So we get a loot +2, which is a 5, which is a common item. And we get incendiary bombs consumed. Defeat a minion with 3 or less hit points. That is really good. I think we'll hold on to that. And now we get 1 more loot +1 roll. It's a 5, another common item. And we get the leather armor of doom. We already have one of those, so not very exciting. If we get 1 more common item, though, we could sell it for 1 silver. So that resolves that. Next phase is to advance forth to Doomrock and face our 3rd encounter. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough so far. We're getting down to the wire here, so we've got 1 more adventure phase, which should be pretty quick, and then our final encounter, which will probably end in our demise. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.